to This Is Why Musicians Need Therapy, the podcast where musicians talk about the mental stuff that everyone deals with, usually while pretending they're fine on stage. Full disclosure, they're not therapists, just musicians who definitely needed one. So settle in, laugh with us, learn with us, and if you're trying to figure out this whole being a musician with feelings thing, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
So let's kind of get into why we're here, and this is something. And I'm going to let Eric take the lead on this because this was his idea, and I like the idea an awful lot. And of course, it's important that I like it because if I don't, then I just tell everybody we're not going to do it. So, yeah. No, that actually doesn't happen.
We work as a team and we do it Rich's way.
Exactly. But so the idea, Eric was talking about it, and he wanted to kind of discuss the role of fear as it relates to the performer. And so, I mean, I actually have some thoughts on this, but I kind of want to hear what Eric has to say, and we'll just kind of springboard off that. So, Eric, you have the floor, my good man.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I was thinking about it in the first place. I mean, I think about it, a lot through my career as a performer because I am a pretty introverted person by nature, and sometimes it's a little daunting to me to get up and perform in front of people. So there's always been a sense of fear that I've worked with and lived with every weekend I play. But as the show goes on more, you'll hear that I will use too many references to The Office. It's my second favorite show. But that's how this came about. There was a Halloween episode where James Spader was in it. He was in it for a few episodes, and he went around the office throughout the day and just casually brought up everyone's fear and got everyone's fear, and then turned it into a story. And it was it was kind of cool and kind of spontaneous. But then at the end, he says, we let fear play such a role in our lives. We let it affect our livelihoods, our relationships, and it just got me thinking about how it can be used or how it can be controlling to you. There's in our case specifically as performers, I kind of equate it to being vulnerable in front of a crowd. Maybe vulnerable is the right word, maybe it's not, but right. but the people that I've
genuine,
the people that I've seen the best, just as far as working a crowd, winning over a crowd of people, just seem to operate without a sense of fear. That's just how I've always kind of described it. They're just not scared to try anything. And I've noticed for myself personally, many times I've talked myself out of taking a shot on something out of fear of it flopping, and then so what, really? But I've, for whatever reason, I've been affected by that at times throughout 13 years of playing.
Do you think that you've made any strides to overcome that, or do you think I'm not to say that you figured out a way to eliminate it, because that just doesn't happen, but right. do you feel like maybe you're managing it better after 13 years than you did when you first got started, or is this for sure. Yeah. I mean, I and you can reduce fear by being, gaining more skill at your craft as well. Getting better, learning more things can reduce fear. I think the way that I'm thinking about it is just approaching it now, especially now, is how to use it as a tool. Because I think it can be used as an effective tool to,
to maybe make you take even more chances in a weird way.
Like
I think
a motivator.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just something I feel, when I play. If I do something I'm unsure of, or if I, make a mistake, it's definitely there, and but it's a manageable, part, and I think it's a part of most performers. I think even the people that I feel like I watch move without fear, feel fear, but respond to it in a different way or whatever, so.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you mentioned that because there's so many different layers to that. Excuse me. I remember more recently listening to Bono's memoirs, and as I was listening to the book, he talks about his son. I can't remember which one it is. I think he has 4 or 5 kids. But he's in the band. He's the lead singer for the band Inhaler, who I actually really like, and he sounds a lot like his dad.
Oh wow!
But I think I played you a song one time, and they're like, that you could hear it, especially in the choruses. But at any rate, he was talking about him and his wife watching their son play at some show, and almost how envious he was of his son, because he just had such an ease about him on stage. And Bono said, "I've never been comfortable on stage. I've had to create characters and have to get into those characters like an actor sometimes to be able to go on stage and do my job, because there's always the fear or anxiety or I'm not good enough, those questions that you always have." He said he's never felt comfortable on stage because of that, and he envied his son for having that level of comfort and the ease of just expressing in front of a large crowd of people rather than just kind of acting it.
That's a really good point about what you said, creating a character, or kind of compartmentalizing, coming outside of yourself. That's definitely something that, because I would argue too, like probably some of the people that we know as the most dynamic performers throughout history, I can think of, I know when Jim Morrison started, he faced away from the crowd, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He faced away from the crowd, and he I don't know. I feel like he was a good performer. Freddie Mercury, I know, had issues with. Yeah. You hear about
stage fright and all that. You're like, wow.
Yeah, stage fright and everything, and you're always surprised by the people who felt it. So there's ways to, like you said, just create a character like an actor. Yeah.
It's sort of an interesting, I don't know if it's irony or whatever, but like the qualities in a personality that drive you to be artistic and introspective and write a song like Bohemian Rhapsody, it would probably traditionally be something very, like I said, very, very introspective, Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you're also expected to get out and perform that song in front of 50,000 people at Wembley Stadium,
Which he did better than anyone ever,
Yeah, I remember actually watching that live. That shows you how old I am. I watched that whole damn day from when they started in Wembley. It was a Saturday, and I was in high school and I had nothing to do, and so I watched the MTV broadcasted the whole thing. From the start of the Wembley concert all the way to the end of Philadelphia, and I remember watching that performance. It was something. Even then, I knew of Queen, but that was an amazing performance. Just like
what year would this have been? 80s?
86, I think. 85. Yeah, I want to say 85. Yeah, I think it was 85. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, that was amazing. That was that was the one performance that, and I hate to admit it, but Judas Priest, because I was a big Judas Priest fan then, and they played in Philadelphia. I don't know if that was a weird booking, but they did that. They did Live Aid in Philadelphia. But the Queen show was what I remember the most. I hear stories about how Phil Collins messed up the drums for Led Zeppelin and all this sort of stuff, and how drunk everybody was at the end of the Wembley show. I don't remember any of that, but I do remember that Queen performance. I remember it. I remember every bit of it. I remember thinking, why is Freddie Mercury picking up a guitar? Why is he trying to play? I didn't know anything about that. But yeah, anyway, back to what you were saying, Greg. I'm sorry.
That was pretty much it. Just as performers or musicians or as artistic people. I mean, this isn't inherent to artists per se. I'm sure it happens across the board. People have to get up and give presentations and things. But yeah, there's probably the thing that drives you, whatever drives you to art, maybe is that very introspective nature, that sort of stuff. And then we practice on our own. We take lessons. It's all very intimate, and then we kind of go, okay. Here's a stage, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your music, And then you go, no, I don't want to get on a stage.
Did you ever have that, Craig? Does fear like that ever kind of play a part in your life as a musician?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think how it sort of manifested itself over the years. When I was at college, I was studying music technology, which was more like audio stuff, live sound, studio recordings and stuff. But I at that point I'd been taking piano lessons since I was 5 years old. So, and it was really into like jazz piano and stuff. So I would, any chance I got to like play a bit of jazz or go into one of the practice rooms and jam with some of the instrumental majors I would revel in. And occasionally I would get to do a gig or something. Maybe a singer would ask me to accompany them or something. But I couldn't get out of my head that like, I'm not a real piano player. I'm supposed to be doing music tech. I don't really belong here. And then especially doing solos, like I could literally, I could practice in my room and really get into the groove and play these things that I was very impressed by, and then I'd get on the stage and
I'm really good,
and then
nowadays you see a like 4-year-old on Facebook doing it.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's why I play a lot less drums these days. I'm like, that 8-year-old just smoked me. God. I don't know how to do that,
and they don't care.
Those bastards. I can't play like that.
But then, I mean, it's weird because there's, and maybe this is it's an adjunct to fear, but there is that aspect of like now go, 1, 2, 3, do it, and I felt a lot of pressure in my years touring, recording. I remember being at like, I think we got to record at Air Studios for a little bit in London. And
la-dee-da.
Yeah, you bastard. Yeah. Well, but it was the pressure of it. Like it was so. And we had this Grammy award-winning producer we were working with, like Dominic Miller, I think, had been in that day playing guitar. Like it was amazing, And then it was all right, go down, lay down your vocals, and I couldn't. My pitch was off.
There's so many people watching you.
I have too many people, too much pressure. It's just pressure. Like, so that's what I struggle with.
It's funny you mention that because I remember a story about when The Who was recording My Generation. And management didn't think Pete Townsend was going to be able to cut it in the studio, so they had Jimmy Page waiting out in the hallway to take over for him if he started screwing it up. Turns out he did, and then like Pete Townsend became like a studio rat. But early on, they didn't think he was going to cut it, and they were about ready to replace him, not in the band, but for the studio work. So. So yeah, I mean the pressure is real. The pressure is real, even if it's not a big time studio.
Of course, the irony is that, the more pressure you put on yourself, the more likely you are to make a mistake.
Oh God, yeah.
That's right.
And for lack of a better way to say it, maybe the people that I've seen that are really effective just have found a way to care less or something. And that brings me to the point of, the number one fear is among everyone is speaking in public, right? And what is the basis of that fear? Like, you have to imagine, what do people think the worst possible outcome is?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Messing up and being judged. I mean,
I think so. I think so. Being judged, maybe not even messing up. Maybe what you're going to say isn't very, very, very important or very engaging or whatever, and you're like, well, people are going to think, I'm a loser. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Now here's another interesting part of it. Would people feel? Let's say someone is really nervous about reading a PowerPoint presentation they've made or a poem they've written, right? I'd be willing to bet they wouldn't be near as nervous if they were reading someone else's poem or just presenting someone else's PowerPoint presentation. Because the information, like the personal aspect, isn't there. I think that's a big part of it for me anyway, is that singing is very personal. Our interpretation of the songs we do is personal, and if you feel like you're being judged for that, then it is, to me, it's a deeper hit. It's like, oh, they're like, and it shouldn't be. That's just me being emotional as I am. But
that's what you do. I mean, that in this respect, singing, that's part of your art. It's also part of what you do for a living. So, excuse me, to want people to accept that, I don't know if that's putting too much on you, but yeah, I do understand what you're saying. I do get that, but I don't know. For me, it was always I didn't have so much of a problem speaking in front of people anymore than I just didn't want to. I was just like, why am I doing this? Nobody. Yeah. I don't even care about it. Why would anybody else care? And maybe that's why I picked up the drums, because I have that barrier in front of me.
Yeah.
It's almost like your shield of armor, if you will. At least it feels that way. And that's probably why playing at the club at first was a little unnerving for me, because I wasn't shoved to the back of the stage. I had people surrounding me. And
you were elevated. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as I should be, of course. But it was really kind of unnerving but I get that way when I do sound too. It's like when the start of the show, when we do the intro and the crowd is really into it, I'm thinking, man, I hope I don't fuck this up. I didn't have sound check. I know how, it sounded great last night, but it's going to sound terrible tonight, because that's just how things happen. That's just how it works. and so I still have that, but there's always that barrier, it's like the drum set is in front of me, the mixer is in front of me, and, I don't deal with it so much anymore, but even still, it feels unnatural to me to have people surrounding me, and you know what I won't take up much more time, but what I fear the most are compliments, because I am so uncomfortable with compliments.
Yeah, I am too.
Because my thought was, well, if I agree with them, well, I sound like some egotistical dick, but my wife said, no, if you dismiss them, then you're an egotistical dick. Then that's what you come off being. And she's helped me a lot. Yeah, I'm still uncomfortable with it. I'll probably always be uncomfortable with it, but now I just like, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And even though inside I'm cringing, I try not to to disrespect them, because yeah, sure, some people say it because they're absolutely hammered, but other people say it because they really mean that. You know, I don't know which is which sometimes, but you know,
it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell sometimes. Yeah.
I am probably more anxious and more fearful about somebody coming up and telling me what a great job I did than I am about anything else. I want to be anywhere else but there. And thank God my wife has helped to kind of help me be better about that.
Yeah.
But if I would say I have any music related anxiety these days, it's that just,
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Maybe one day it won't be, but right now.
Well, and was it Eisenhower or Roosevelt or someone that said, what's the famous quote? You know, the only thing to fear is fear itself.
Oh,
Yeah.
JFK.
That was Kennedy, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what's happening. I think it's this feedback loop. You know, I think, yeah, like you get stuck in this self-perpetual, like, or self-fulfilling, I'm thinking about it, now it's a thing, and then I'm thinking about the thing, and then I'm thinking about the thing, you know, and I guess some people can just tune that out. I mean, I don't know, I think one of the all-time just consummate performers that I've really had the pleasure of being able to witness in my life is probably John. For those of you who don't know, we used to play with at Plus. Like, he just, it's like I don't know how he does. Like, no fear, you know, takes his shirt off. Whatever. I mean, you know, he's in great shape.
Overwhelming. But like, it's overwhelming positivity, and
it doesn't come across as egotistical, you know.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Well, here's the funny thing about it, and Eric, you probably know this.
So impressive
because you and him are good friends. But I remember having him over for Thanksgiving one year because he didn't go see his family, and so Maria and I said, "Hey, come on over." And so we did, and he was talking to my wife, and I don't know how they got on the subject, but he said, "I'm not." Oh, it was. He was with a group of people, and he's like, I really had a hard time talking because I'm not comfortable doing that. He goes, no, I can go up on stage and do all that stuff, but in a group setting, he says, I'm kind of shy. Unless he's very familiar with the people. And I guess this was I might be getting the story wrong. My wife could probably correct me on it. But anyway, he was just talking about a situation where maybe I think he was talking to a group of people the way he was not comfortable. And that's hard to fathom when you see what he used to do on stage. He says, I'm good with that. And I remember hearing Brian Regan, the comedian, talking about that. He goes, I go to parties and stuff, and I have a hard time talking to people. And this is while he's speaking at Carnegie Hall. He goes, this I'm fine with, but nobody lines up like this at a dinner party to talk to you. He was just uncomfortable with that. Yeah,
I will say some of the most nervous I've been is maybe playing for family, playing for like 6 people or something. Or gosh, I remember my old piano exams, playing for just one examiner. That was nerve wracking, Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny how that. I think the most nervous I ever was when I was in high school and I was in choir and we were doing an Easter program, and I had a solo, and the most nervous I ever was singing that solo in rehearsal. Now, the actual performance, piece of cake. I don't know why, but that dress rehearsal, I was just like, my fingernails were sweating. I was so nervous.
How old were you?
Oh, gosh, I was like 16. Yeah, okay, 16 or 17.
Kind of prime. That's still, pretty dicey voice crack territory right there.
Yeah, and that's what
voice is coming.
That's what the ladies loved too. They couldn't get enough of that. I knew it. But yeah, no, I mean, and the thing was I was singing. I was singing. I had a solo, and I was singing with the choir director's wife, who had this very operatic voice. And here I am, I didn't have vibrato to save my life. I can hold the tune. I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't good like her. But like I said, that dress rehearsal, gosh, I was holding the mic and my hand was shaking. It was like I had Parkinson's or something. But the performance, I was fine. It was just that one moment. And I remember that like it was yesterday. Just that I've never, typically I get anxious more than nervous. I'm just ready to go do it. But that time was nerves, just total nerves, and it was, I don't know. Maybe I got it all out of my system. It was terrible. I couldn't imagine facing every performance like that. But some people do. And they still manage.
What's the best thing to do for yourself? Because I've had, moments playing in church growing up, or playing at my grandfather and grandmother's funeral, playing like sweaty hands, shaking. That's people are going to get that. Everyone has felt that. What is the best thing to say to yourself in those moments, or do you just? Is it best to find, a sense of mindfulness with it, that like, yes, I feel this way, and that's natural, and not judge yourself,
I guess that would be a question I would ask you. And I say that because of this. Like you talk about, the nerves and the fear and whatnot. The funny thing is, I don't see that. I don't see that in your performances. And if you didn't tell me you experienced that, I wouldn't know. It's not outwardly visible. So I guess the question is, what do you say to yourself? What do you do? Or do you just kind of power through it? Or you just lean on muscle memory? I know these songs, I know how to do this, and so nerves or not, I'm going to get the job done. I mean, what is it?
That's a great point, and something you mentioned earlier, that things can easily get stagnant, and if we're starting with a certain Motown song, then I know I'm not nervous about that.
Yeah. You've been there, done that.
That song in my sleep now, and I'd rather not. So it depends. Like, if I were in a, I guess it depends on how different from your norm you're going. It depends on how intense the situation is, I guess. So recently I've been okay starting, there are nights where I just don't feel like, being the first one to start. I sometimes don't like that. And, so it's, I don't know. I don't really tell myself anything to answer the question quickly. I don't have an inner monologue, maybe it'd be good to try and find one, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
A mantra.
Well, do you, how about you, Craig? Is there anything that you do, anything you say to yourself, or what's the process if you feel that way? Or are you such a big star you don't feel that way?
No, I don't know. There are some aspects of my performance that I'm very comfortable with, and gosh, I don't know. We could we could delve into childhood, I was gonna say trauma, but like teasing things. I don't know, like all the shit that we carry into our adult life with. Yeah. And I think for me, my voice was always, I was a bit of an outsider with my voice, especially with the Ten Tenors when I used to sing with them. Was that like, and originally I was their keyboard player, and then they were like, well, why are you singing? You're not a tenor, you're not a, and I feel like I've spent a lot of my time like proving that sentiment wrong. I might even be overthinking that. That might not really be how they actually felt, you know. So I've used that sentiment as a motivation. Eric, you were talking about fear as motivation. But when it's like, what I struggle with dueling pianos particularly is that it can be many different things, but I think at its most entertaining is when we're, you know, up and about and being funny and silly and goofy and out of your chair and moving around and whatever, you know. So there are times I'm like, I really should just, like, I've thought about it. Sometimes I've done playing the harmonica with Piano Man. I'm like, okay, get off your fucking ass, get on the piano and do the harmonica.
Yeah.
People will love it.
Yeah.
It's for the show. And then I'm going, no, you're going to look like an egotistical fuckwit. Like, no, people are going to go, who's this guy? Thinks he's getting on the piano and blah, blah, blah. You know, like,
It's just a harmonica after all.
Yeah.
Just settle down.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
right.
I mean, Craig might be right about no.
No, I get it.
But so I battle with that sort of stuff. But if it's like a note that I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna hit. Like, I have this weird thing whenever I sing Rocket Man, I'm gonna nail that G, that Rocket Man. Like, I'm gonna, and I have this unwavering belief in myself that I will fucking nail that G, and watch me shake it now for forever more. But it works for me. So I don't know. That's what is that? That's it's a belief in myself. It's not really, it's not proving anything to anyone at that moment. It's just like, it's an internal Zen knowing. This moment is happening and I will deliver.
I'm in control of it. Yeah.
I'm in control. Yeah. Everything slows down. Let's do this.
Well, I don't think it's a lot different. I mean, clearly it's more pronounced for the musician, especially those that perform live, you know, because you're up in front of people and everybody's watching you and everybody's listening to you. And there's a certain expectation, whatever that might be. If you're in a prog rock band, your expectation is you are going to play complicated songs like it doesn't even bother you. Or if you're, you know, like the 10 tenors, well, you're going to be expected to hit those notes and it better sound good, you know, whatever that is. Or just out in life in general, kind of what we were talking about a little bit before the show, I think falls into that category. And it has nothing necessarily to do with music, but I think the struggle kind of spans a lot of different things. Like, you know, one of the reasons why I never kind of like continued on with education, especially now, is because, well, I'm concerned that I'm too old. I mean, I am 56. What business do I have going back to school? And sure, there's going to be those detractors. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to change my mindset. First of all, I'm listening to that group of people who I didn't listen to before and who said it's not too late. You're not too old to do this. So look at these people who changed their careers in their late 50s, early 60s. There's plenty of examples of them out there. Matter of fact, Jorge was talking a little bit about that this weekend. But there was that fear. I'm too old. I can't do this. It's
Colonel Sanders was pretty old.
Like he was. But
you can still invent.
And the podcast stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of podcasts out there. It's not going to be successful. Well, maybe not. But it's never going to be successful if I never do it. And so I think for me, whether it's music, whether I'm behind the mixer or behind the drum set or trying to, as we've talked about, recalibrate my life, there's that fear. And the best thing I can do is, as responsibly as possible, ignore the detractors, focus on the positives, and just kind of power through it. I mean, I guess that would be your answer for me, Eric. Do I have an inner monologue? No, but I just feel like sometimes it's just that work ethic. You just, okay, I got to do it, so I'm going to do it. Fear not.
You can try and use.
Well, that's the definition of bravery, right? Doing it with fear.
Yeah,
you can be brave.
Because who are you trying to impress? It's like me not going to school. Who's that for? Is that to look good in people's eyes who would say, "Oh, you shouldn't be here"? Well, I don't give a damn about them. And I shouldn't. I don't even know them. Everybody I'm around has had, very positive things to say about it. So why would I care if I look kind of stupid to people who would be my detractors, and even people that I don't know? And I think that kind of correlates to performing as well. I mean, sure, there's probably going to be people out in the crowd that, well, that didn't sound very good. Well, so what? There's going to be a lot of people that do like it. And,
You're giving a lot of credence to other people. They're not thinking about you.
Exactly. They really aren't. You're really not that important.
People do not think about you.
They got their own shit to worry about.
See, that's brilliant. God, how many times do we get caught up in our heads worrying about what somebody might be thinking, whether it's an actual person or just somebody, like a general person in the crowd, and they don't even care. They don't even care.
And you can use positive affirmation. Like Craig, you mentioned the standing up on the piano and going wild with the harmonica. Like, people do respond to that positively, and then they do love it. Yeah. They do, cheer really loudly for big visual displays every once in a while, done in a good way, but
in moderation. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Yes,
but
I'm moderating moderation.
I think that's
like that.
Oscar
I'm
Wilde.
using that.
Yeah, that is good. So
that's a t-shirt
and it's
right there.
It's not hard. Like it's not physically hard to walk up on top of the piano. It's not, you know how to play that part on the harmonica. If I were to do it for a rap song, I know what to do when I get up there. But it's just kind of getting over that quick hump. Maybe if you just, like the 1, 2, 3 go, or the
3, 2, 1 go. Or something.
Just make it. Just make it quick. Make it quick. Don't dwell on it. Don't give yourself time to feel too much fear over it.
There's this concept of like, it's not like what if I fuck it up? What if I actually do well? Like there's that like, what if people think I'm showing off? It's like we have this concept in Australia called the tall poppy syndrome, which is, and I'm not a horticulturalist by any stretch, but I guess there is a sense maybe with poppies you keep them all the same level. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so should anyone rise above we'll research it. Anyone rise above the other poppies, you cut it down. So we have this sort of mentality in Australia that like, we're all nah, you're right, mate. Nah, we're all just battlers. We're all just working class. We're all just giving it, our best shot. Far be it for you to succeed, to rise above the rest of us and have more status, money, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
That's kind of nice.
It is until
it isn't.
Until you lack confidence in doing anything remotely above the status quo.
Yeah.
Because you're like, so you're like, it's like, who the fuck does this guy think he really? Really, this guy thinks he can get up on the piano and do that on the really fuck him, fuck that guy. It's a lot of expletives, but now and that could be a universal trait. Although I will say, I do feel like I remember touring around the world and different countries were different, but like I always felt like you touring in Australia, that like the audience was kind of going, all right, prove yourself, guys. We're here. We don't know who you are. who the hell do you think you are? Oh, and then at the end of the show, oh, okay, yeah, that was decent. Whereas in the States, I always felt people were like, they're like, yeah, what do you got? What do you got? Let's see it. We're rooting for you from the beginning, you know?
Yeah, they want you to succeed. Now, if you start falling off the log, then they're going to give you shit for it. But they want you to succeed because they paid their money. They want you to succeed.
It, whereas Australians, I feel like, want you to fail.
They're like, we knew it. We knew he sucked.
You're a fraud. We caught you. Yeah,
That's nuts. Fear is just a common issue, not just in music, but in life in general. So I think it's a very broad topic, and I feel pretty good about how we addressed it. I do.
Yeah.
And I should.
I think we solved it.
Yeah.
I think it's...
I'm not afraid anymore. So
no, I feel great. Our work here is done. You're welcome. You're welcome, Will. We solved it for you. No, it never. I mean, it never ends, right? It's a constant thing.
Yeah, it is. But
I mean, and look, if you're not fearful anymore, maybe you're in the wrong room or whatever that sort of equivalent quote is. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe it's good to have a little bit of discomfort.
Actually, I do. I think it motivates you. I mean, look at our situation right now. You know, without going into great detail, because there's no need to, at least not right now. Maybe at some point, but there's some uncertainty. You know, and there's some fear. And there should be. Yeah. If you weren't feeling that, then, you know, as you said, maybe something's wrong. But you know, Eric, we can use that as motivation to work hard and to be successful. You know, and
well, you said fear is constant, and I think accepting fear as a constant is a step in the right direction too. Like, just accepting it, that it is always going to be there, and there's no way to beat it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Working with it, not against it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, I think this was good. It was good. So, anything else to add? Anybody have anything else they want to add before we wrap it up?
I just got a text from my wife, so I should read that in a minute.
Yeah, you probably should. Well, on that note, because
where are you?
in my Hotel California cave.
All right, guys. Well, look, this has been fun. And for everybody listening, thank you so much. If you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I think that's what it is. And if you're checking us out on Spotify, just go ahead and hit the follow button. And hey, if you want, leave us a comment, good or bad. We'd love to hear from you. And if you really like us, go ahead and share the podcast. We'd love that as well. So for myself, Eric Forbes, and Craig Henry, we'll catch you next time. This is Why Musicians Need Therapy is executive produced by Eric Forbes, Craig Henry, and Rich Davidson for Ascension Entertainment.